cross-legged or back on your heels. Take a moment to check in with yourself through breath and a bit of stillness. Welcoming yourself to this 60-minute all levels practice. All levels, but I'm kicking it up a notch today, although we'll always have plenty of modifications, variations, progressions. Nod your chin down to the chest. Rock the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Walk the left fingertips out to the side. Bring it into the center, chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder. Other hand, fingertips out. And then bring hands back to the thighs, chin down to the chest. Take both hands behind the head and press your head into the fingertips. Try to find a nice long spine and some strengthening along the front side. I always like to start with this gentle opening, head, neck, and shoulders. The news of the day brings the stress in. For me, it presents in these spaces, and so that much more important. Start slow and steady. Reconnect. Lower the hands, lift the head, open your eyes, and let's stretch both arms up to the sky. Right hand down by your side, nice long reach. Over, over, over. Go all the way down to the forearm or stay higher. And then today, much like child's pose, turn both hands down, kind of over that right thigh. And then walk over to the other side. Keep the left fingertips on the ground and sweep the right arm up and over. Go as far down to the left forearm as works for you. Okay, let's lift both arms back up to the sky. Greet your center, palms together. A couple of breaths, say a little intention for this time of practice. And then when you're ready, all fours, flip on over. I'm going to use my blocks a lot. Feel free to grab yours whenever you want to bring the floor a little bit higher. Cat and cow. Blocks are used sometimes to make poses more doable, more accessible, but also to change the way you're working in the pose. So something like using blocks under the hands in cat and cow might offer you a little bit more ease in getting into the movement of the upper back. Then if you stick with a neutral spine and take the right leg up and back, bird dog, extend the opposite arm out in front, table balance, call it all sorts of different things. And then send your left arm out to the side and try to kick your right foot forward, more towards the line of your right shoulder. Straight arms. Send it back around to the front and lower left hand, right knee. Okay, second side, lift the left leg up and back, right arm out in front. So all week long in practices, we're kind of exploring different avenues for the arm balance of Ekapada Koundinyasana 2. Take the right arm out to the side and kick the left foot forward. We'll get to what that is, but it looks like plank pose with your back leg lifted and your front leg extended over your front shoulder. Come down to all fours, and it can be more accessible than you might think. Downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Pedal out your feet. Shake the head a bit, yes and no. And then walk your hands backwards to your feet so you're in your ragdoll position at the back end of the mat. Hold on to your elbows. Sway a bit from side to side. Let the breath go. Set aside that you do not need for this 60-minute practice. Be present. And then slowly roll up to standing. Shoulders up and back a couple of times. Okay, let's reach the left arm up to the sky and reach over towards your right side. Other hand can stay at the waist or kind of trail down to try to tap your outer knee. And inhale and come back upright and switch arms. Up and over. Good, come back to your center and release. Let's travel up to the front edge of the yoga mat. If you're making use of blocks, have them up at the front of the mat for you. Lift both arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. And then right foot forward, left foot back into your lunge. Rock the legs a little forward and back, straighten and bend here. Feel free to flex the front foot, pull the toes up off of the mat each time you straighten the leg. And then stay with the straightened version of the legs for a moment. Can you push both feet flat down against the ground and get both legs as straight as possible, either keeping hands to floor, blocks, or hands to the waist. Spine as long as possible. Press through your front big toe, your back outer heel. Hold it for one more breath. And then rebend the right knee into your low lunge. Take it into our good old revolve lunge, right hand up to the sky. Good, and then both hands to the inside of your foot. I want to check in with our forearm lunge right off the bat here, see how things are going. Lower your back knee, and it should still be in the stride that you use for low lunge, so pretty far back from the line of your hip. And then go lower to the left forearm and to the right forearm. Use height of a block. If you're not using block, but the forearms aren't ready to be down, stay on your palms with bent elbows. Squeeze your front inner thigh to your outer shoulder so you get that nice connection. Imagine the squeeze necessary to balance on just your hands with that right foot forward. And walk back up. Lift the back knee and step forward, both feet to the front end of the mat. Lift the arms up to the sky, big full reach. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the left foot forward, step the right foot back, so you should be into your second side here. Square off your hips, do all the good things. And then float your legs forward and back. A little rocking horse. Straighten and bend. Dynamic movement. No wrong way to do it here. Pick the pace that feels good for you. Okay, and then we're going to stick with the front knee bent. We're going to do this one first this time. Left arm up to the sky in your revolved lunge. And then take it to the inside for your forearm lunge. I definitely like the height of a block, being so close to the opening of class, so warming through the body here. Try to look a little forward past the fingertips. Squeeze your inner thigh to your outer shoulder there on that left side. And then we'll slowly walk it back up. And remember, we need to go back towards the straight leg. Here we're doing it in reverse order. So straighten the left leg like pyramid pose. Back foot can always pull in a little bit closer to make sure that you can fully feel your weight in the outer heel. And again, take some lift in the hands, even as high as towards the waist to make this more doable. We want a good steady stretch through that back hamstring and calf, as well as on the front hamstring. All right, and then a gentle bend in both knees and step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift up. Let's put everything into more of a sun salutation or a flow. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower down to the mat. Lift for cobra. Press back, child's pose. And into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Pull the knee forward to the chest and hover in plank position. So shoulders right over the wrist. We are holding strength here. Can you move the right knee out like fire hydrant to the side and back in? This is also doable with the left knee down instead of up. I do want you to try to get that external rotation in the hip. One more time, out to the side and in. And then step the right foot through into the lunge. Come up to high lunge, arms to the sky. Take a twist here. Right hand can look down the right side of the body and look over your right shoulder. Left hand, whatever feels right for you. Bring both arms back up to the sky, untwist. Set the hands down to your blocks to the floor, step through plank. Down to the mat. Cobra. And downward facing dog. Second side here, lift the left leg up and back. Pull the knee into the chest and then hover forward in plank. Again, I'm using the height of hands under blocks just to make this more doable. The other option is back knee down. Let's take the left knee out to the side and in. Do it 3 times, out to the side and in, out to the side and in. Step the left foot all the way through to your lunge. Pick up the back knee if it was down. Come upright and high lunge. Good, and then we're twisting. So I'm letting the left hand come down, kind of reach back towards that right leg and look over the left shoulder here. It's a bit of a twisted reach on that back arm. Okay, come out of the twist, both arms high. Good, and this time we're just stepping forward, both feet to the front of the mat. Half lift. Extend from hips to head. Forward fold. Stand all the way up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Okay, adding more to this. Lift up again. Exhale and fold. Half lift. Step back to plank. Koundinyasana, that little hover, and then a fall down. Cobra. Push it back to child's pose for a moment. And let's take the thread the needle here, or twisted child's pose. So right arm goes under the left. Your butt and hips can be higher, or let them sink back low towards the heels. Try both or either. And then release, right hand forward, and twisted child's pose, second side, left shoulder goes under. Unwind yourself and change to downward facing dog. Back to the first side, lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. This time bend the knee and open the hip. And make the big hip circles down and around 3 times. Just one direction, we'll do the other direction another time. And then step the foot all the way through. Come up to your high lunge. Good, do the twist again, right hand down and tries to reach towards the left. Look over your right shoulder, top hand. It's free to do what it wants. As you untwist, arm back up to the sky, let's go to warrior 2. Spin the back heel down so the energy changes to the second side of the mat. Side angle, right elbow to the knee, top arm palm down overhead. Good, go to reverse warrior. So lift the right arm back up, left arm down. Torso stays pretty open towards the long edge of your mat. And the cartwheel down around the front foot. For a moment, bring both arms to the inside and try to fly airplane wings under the right leg. Left arm straight out to the sky. If wrapping the shoulder underneath doesn't work, take the belly to set down onto the thigh and both arms out to the sides. If it works to get low, get low. And then everybody unwraps. Let's start forward, so step both feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, both arms to the sky. Palms to the center. Okay, whole thing, second side, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Work with your breath. Half lift. Step back to plank. Chaturanga is the little hover, or you can just lie it flat down. And then into cobra or up dog, always available, right into downward facing dog for this side. Lift the left leg up, three-legged dog, bend the knee, open the hip. Big hip circles, go down and around 3 times. The whole body can kind of rock back and forth there to really get into a big range of motion. And step the left foot all the way through. Give it a couple of steps if you didn't make the whole stride, no big deal. And then come upright, arms to the sky. Okay, so it's more of a twist first. That left arm goes down, tries to reach kind of around the back to the right outer thigh. Right arm stays lifted or can go behind the head for a little support. Woo! And then we unwrap ourselves and move to warrior two. Spin the back heel down, open it up. Broaden the front knee closer to the pinky toe side of the foot there, nice and wide. Take it to side angle, elbow to knee, top arm palm down overhead, get full reach. Push the weight into the back leg as you come back upright and into reverse warrior. Right arm down, left arm high. And then cartwheel around that front foot. Pick up the back heel. And again, two options here. So that first variation is belly is laying down onto your thigh, thighs kind of pressing up. You take the hands out, airplane wings. Second variation, more challenging, is dipping that left shoulder down, asking for different mobility and deeper flexibility, and the arms still wide in the airplane wings. Try to square off the hips, left hip back, right hip forward, wherever you are. Unwrap yourself. Everyone step back foot forward, half lift, forward fold, stand up, reach the arms to the sky, palms together, center of the chest. Give yourself a moment. Okay, release the arms down by your side. So if you do have a block handy, we're all going to use it for this next one. Again, if you don't, your foot gets to stay on the ground. Okay, but it's one block. On its lowest height, step on it with your right foot. So we're just trying to bring our right foot up in height. And then walk your left foot back, back, back. Try to line up your front heel to the middle of the back foot. Or for a little more space and ease, line up front heel, shooting a straight line back to your back heel. From here, square the hips towards the front short side of your mat, straighten both legs. And now pyramid pose again. We did it with both feet on the floor at the very beginning. I've given you an extra challenge of a lifted foot. Deeper stretch already starting to come in. If the hands would like to trail down, down, down to hold on to the ankle, maybe hold on to the edges of the block. If your range allows flat palms here on the ground, go for it. The example of the block making the pose more challenging. Give it one more breath, and then lift all the way back upright. Okay, nice and easy, hop it in, and then switch sides. Place your other foot on the block. I have small feet, so my feet fully fits on the block. Of course, get as much of your foot to fit on the block as works for you. Line up again, heel to heel or heel to the middle of the back foot. That back hip point, we want to square it towards the front, just like the shoulders, so everything is directed towards that front short side of the mat. Straighten the legs. Nice full lift, long spine, and then hinge over. Hinge, hinge, hinge. If you can, walk the hands lower, hold on to the edges of the block, or even fingertips all the way down to the floor, flat palms. See where your range takes you without overdoing it. And hands back to the waist, press down and out through the feet. Come all the way back upright. Little bend in both knees to safely hop your way in. Come down away from the block, move it out of your way. Lift both arms up to the sky. Forward fold. Okay, right foot forward, left foot back. There's a lot of lunge. Forward and back instead of open to the side for today. I want you to see what's going on with your forearm lunge a second time. Walk both hands to the inside of your foot. Try coming down to your left forearm first. So that should take you kind of away from your midline. And sometimes it's easier getting that outer forearm down. And then almost like a twist, looking flat down at the mat to get the right forearm down. Play with it. That's the mantra for the month. We're coming in and out in different ways to see what works. Does it help you with back knee up or back knee down more? And then now, can you turn your right toes, knee, hip out about 30 degrees so that the thigh energetically starts moving more away from your right shoulder. I like to think of a book opening and kind of peel the right toes back away from the floor. The whole leg has to go with you in that same sense of peel. So the middle of the toes always stay over the knee. And then close your book and point your knee and hip more towards the front of the mat. If your back knee is down, can you lift it up here? Come to your palms, but stay low and try that airplane wing again. But this time the hands are gonna stay on the mat instead of balancing out to the sides. And then rock forward and back. Gonna push your right shoulder to your calf as you rock forward and back. Okay, unwrap yourself. Go all the way up to high lunge. I know those legs are getting tired. Come all the way up to high lunge. Good. Go to warrior two. Spin the back heel down. Straighten the right leg. Triangle pose. Reach as far as you can to the right. Feel free to use the block or not. Right hand down, left arm high. Look down at your right foot. Rebend the right knee. Circle your way to a low lunge. Step back to plank. And actually downward facing dog here. Same leg that we've been working with. Lift your right leg up and back, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. I want you to circle in the opposite way if you're not sure. It usually is the one that feels awkward that you haven't done yet. For most folks, that's out, in, and around. Do that 3 times. And then full downward facing dog. We'll do that hip circle first on the second side. So go ahead, lift the left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. And here's your big hip circles in the opposite direction that you've already done. For most, that's going to be out, in, around. Okay, for this leg, step it on through to your lunge. We'll come up to high lunge first. Spin the back heel down, open to the side of your mat in warrior two. This takes us into triangle pose. Straighten your front leg. Hinge, reach, left hand down, right arm up. Meaningfully, I'm reversing the sequences from side to side occasionally here today so that you might be able to feel a difference. Hey, that's easier, or that's harder, depending on the sequence of things. And if you don't notice, no big deal. Come all the way upright. Rebend the front knee. Travel it back around to high lunge. Find your balance. And then lower the hands to the inside of your foot. If you're working with a block, grab it. And again, we're going down to forearm lunge. So it's that right forearm, the outside, that should go down first. You get some of the body weight to move over to the side. You might impress yourself with how far you can get when you start with that outer forearm first. And then left side. Here at first, we squeeze everything in towards the midline and keep the toes, the knee pointed straight ahead. Look forward past your fingertips. You can have back knee up or down, whichever one suits you. And then we're trying to change to a little more external rotation. Turn the left toe, knee, hip out about 30 degrees so that the energy of the thigh starts to move away from your left shoulder. And even peel the foot open like a book, meaning keep the outer edge, the pinky edge of your foot on the ground, and try to peel from the big toe open. Knee has to open at the same rate. Treat them as a unit. And then flatten your book and put the toes back straight ahead. Here's your chance to try that bind again of the left shoulder dipping as far down as we can go. Often I grab the thumb and first finger like a little horseshoe behind the left heel to sort of cement that creeping under, and then place the hand. So hand, front foot, other hand, all in the same line. Lift the left heel and try to rock even just a little bit forward and back here. It's the back leg propelling that rock. Progressive little stages. Unwind yourself. Step back to plank pose. Get there however you can. Lay happily flat down to the mat. Cobra. And child's pose with knees wide, big toes together. A softening hip opener here. Friends, from here we're going to flip over and lie down onto our back. This is my favorite form of the arm balance because it's doable for 100% of us and provides the strengthening measures without weight bearing. So pull your knees into your chest. Hold on to just your right knee. Extend your left leg all the way down against the mat. Let's experience this in a couple of ways. Flex your left foot and really dig your heel down. It's going to stay against the mat, simulating when we have the back leg down and the front leg lifted. Arms straight up towards the sky like they're in a straight-armed plank. Move the right knee a little more out towards the line of your right shoulder. And then make the right leg as straight as it'll go. Imagine that pyramid pose where you're working really strong in the stretch while standing on your yoga block. And then the last piece of the puzzle, lift your head and shoulders up off of the mat so your body is in a crunch. Can you make any part of your leg touch your outer arm? Any part of your right leg touch your right outer arm? Hug, hug, hug. Now lift your left leg off of the mat. Final breath, final pose. This is Ekapada Koundinyasana. 3, 2. Hug your knees into your chest. Nice work. Hug just the left knee into your chest. Extend the right leg. Dig your heel against the mat. Arms straight up to the sky like you're in your straight-armed plank. As the left knee moves a little more out to the side, in line with the left shoulder, should have room to clear that left arm, and then shoot the leg as straight as you can. It's harder to get the leg straight non-weight bearing, so you're doing a ton of work right there. Let's cap it off with the crunch. Try to make some part of the leg squeeze into the outer arm bone. And then fly the right foot, right heel up off the ground. That's tough stuff. Good job. Hug the knees into the chest. So that's the picture. You can imagine just flipping yourself 180 degrees so that your hands are the thing that's touching the mat instead of your back. We'll try it in just a moment. We've got a couple of things left in us still. Come up to a seated position. Stretch your legs straight out in front. Flex the feet, toes point straight up to the sky. Seated forward fold. Good old Paschimottanasana. Hold on to your feet. Let your arms drape to the mat. Don't worry about how that arm balance is going to come into play. Be present with this breath, this pose. That always makes it better. Okay, come back up to your seat. Always one of my favorite things. We're going to wear our backpack leg. Hold on to your right foot. Give it a little cradling first. Oh, so many stages here. Oh, you know what? I meant to tell you, if you've got your 2 blocks, to place them on either side of your hips to make this one perhaps a little bit more accessible. Okay, we're going to do our best to pull the thigh back, swing the calf up over the shoulder. I'm going to set my hands flat down on that lower end of the block. If you're not using blocks, they're flat on the ground. As you clamp the left heel down, your right heel down. The block should move a little forward of the hips, so mine are at the sort of meaty part of the thigh, if you will. And then I'm going to use pressure of the hands down into the blocks to try to lift arms straight, butt up. Now with that, can you get your left heel off of the ground? And then lower your whole self down and unwrap. It's just a couple of inches. For some of us that have shorter torso, that have like a longer torso and shorter limbs, it's like, how am I ever going to get up there? The blocks are going to give you that advantage that others might have naturally. Okay, second side. We can just kind of cradle, rock the leg. That's certainly first go. If there's something going on for you that you don't want to hook, can't hook right now, another great way to get the experience of that fly is just foot flat and doing that same press up. So whether you're wearing your backpack strap or something a little bit different here on the second side, press the blocks down, lift your butt up. And it's that last little bit, really low belly strength, pelvic floor, hip flexors to get your right heel off of the ground. Let yourself come back down and unwind. Okay, so we've done it our back, seated, and then we're gonna flip all the way so chest is down for the last time around. If you're working with those blocks, keep working with them, please. And take plank pose with your hands flat on the blocks and your feet back behind you. Again, if you're not working with blocks, hands are on the floor. Maybe a few more grunts for you if your hands are on the floor, for sure. Let's march the legs a little bit here, right and left. Nice and warm, noticing how we're working with glutes and hamstrings. Take it into good old pigeon pose first, so that's right knee into the chest, and then just set the right knee down at the edge of the block. Lower back leg, and I like to go down to the forearms here. Good old pigeon pose. If you're wanting to opt out of the arm balance progressions, take this as a yen pose and stay here for a couple of minutes. Different work, just as good. If you want to go with me into those arm balance progressions, we're going to walk our hands back up on the blocks. Lift yourself out of pigeon pose and step your right foot forward into your low lunge. Okay, with both arms on the inside, we're going to dip the right shoulder down, down, down below the line of the thigh. And do that hook, wear your backpack. Right leg is your backpack. And again, I'm still using my hands on the blocks to make this more doable. Remember, when you were on your back with this pose, we kept that left heel on the mat. Now your left toes are going to stay on the mat. You're going to work on lifting your right foot off of the floor, maybe trying to straighten it out towards the right side. If you're there, lean forward, 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 and try to fly that left foot up. Now the blocks are making you higher up. Step your way back to plank pose when you're done. And so it can be a little bit scarier because we're higher off of the ground. But the height also makes it easier to get off of the ground. So it's that like little juggle between the two. Some folks place a blanket or something right where your head might hit the ground. And just having that knowledge makes it easier to do the play. Okay, we're going to try this on the second side. Remember, we started in plank pose and we marched. Do that again. We've warmed up all the component parts, and it's putting them together here. First to pigeon pose, what I'm trying to say. Left knee behind the left wrist, heel towards the right hip. Slowly lower, lower, lower down. Good, release out through the mouth on the exhale. Breath, let it be. Again, if you're taking the yin experience, you get to stay here for a couple more minutes in pigeon pose. Intensity comes in waves. In yin, use your breath to help you along. If you're trying the arm balance on this side, we crawl it back up. Extract the left leg into your low lunge. Left arm comes to the inside. Again, you're dipping that left shoulder as low, low, low down as you can. Hook the left leg over the left shoulder. Hands on the floor of those blocks. And again, we're going to keep the back leg down. It's the last thing to lift for this experience. Try to lift your left heel off the ground. Tone in the belly, abdomen. If that's happening, try to lift your left foot off the ground. And I'm like clamping really strongly, squeezing the muscles to the bone on my left arm from the leg. If that's working, then extend the leg more out, 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 more into the stretch. And as I lean way forward in the head, ooh, that's not happening on that side. I try to get the right foot off of the ground. And then you safely extract yourself back towards plank pose. Knees down, child's pose, all of us. So if you'd stayed in your yin pigeon pose, let yourself pull back to child's pose here. Friends, I'm going to instruct one more entry into the same pose. Again, with the option to stay a few steps pulled back. This time it's no blocks. Come up to all fours and step your right foot forward. Pyramid pose, lift that back knee. Scoot the foot in a little bit and straighten both legs with both hands to the inside. So first option, revolve triangle pose. Left hand stays down, right arm up to the sky. That's your peak. Second option is to go back into the bend of the right leg like your lunge. Travel underneath. Do that fly of the airplane wings for a moment. And then lift your back leg up. Set it down. Lift your front leg up, out, and lift the back leg at the same time. If you're in revolved triangle or in the arm balance, make your way back to downward facing dog. Everyone step left foot forward, back knee down to the mat for a moment and breathe. Last piece of the puzzle, lift the back knee, straighten the left leg as everybody goes to pyramid pose first. Hands come to the inside of the foot. Stay and work there. Next stage, revolve triangle pose, left arm high, stay and work there. Next stage, quite different. Rebend the left knee, hook the left shoulder under the thigh. Set the hands. This is I want you to do quick, so you're kind of thinking about it less. Try to rock your weight into the front leg to lift the back leg. Set the back leg down, extend the front leg. Both legs up. And everyone make your way back to downward facing dog. Everyone plank pose down to the belly. Turn over onto your back. Big tries. Nicely done. Hug the knees into the chest. Pull the knees wide towards the shoulders. Stay there or do happy baby, holding onto your feet. Stay there or take it into a straddle, straightening the legs. Everybody bring it back into that tight hold and squeeze. Soles of the feet to the mat, let the knees fall in. Hands over the belly. Connect to you. Glory, appreciation to yourself for the work of the practice. For listening to self when it was time to pick up the challenge. For listening to self when you needed to pause or stay back. Keep listening. Do any last movements that you want to right here. Maybe your last movement is right into Shavasana. Maybe you need a little bit more wiggle or a specific pose. This is your time. And if you can rest back into stillness now, whether it's seated or lying back, please do. Take your time now to slowly come back to a seated position if you're lying down. Feel free to keep your eyes low or closed here. And start with the palms turned down along your legs, really noticing the heat, the goodness of energy within you. We know that some of the magic of what yoga is this practice of union. It helps each individual be a little better to self. And when we're better to self, it's easier to give goodness out. Turn the palms up now in that symbol of openness and giving. Let's take a few gathered energetic breaths out for the people that are suffering in Ukraine and across the world right now. What you do on this mat does help, does matter. And the way that we send that goodness of the work, the dedication, of the practice on the yoga mat out into the world is symbolic through the sound of Om. We'll close in the sound of Om as we typically do. You're welcome to sing along, to listen, or to tune it out. Empty out your breath here and take a deep breath in. Bow in. Thank you.